Progressive overload. There is a lot more to it in the gym, but this applies to all aspects of life. Fitness, nutrition, sobriety, and then really how we move forward in this constantly changing world so that we not only survive but thrive into the future. And then really the thing that I am making progress in, but it's still something that I'm learning about, and that's more of a kind of a deep spiritual thing, coping with fear, scarcity, anxiety, resentment, anger. So we're going to hit a lot of different things, but let's start out with the stuff that's just the easiest first. So the further we get past our mid-20s into our late 20s and on, we have to make sure we're strategic about what we're doing with our physical fitness and our training, right? Because what we're doing here is we're creating a new identity through habits and actions consistently. And if we hurt ourselves, if we can't consistently do the things we say we're going to do, we're not really creating that new identity, and it can be pretty damaging. So progressive overload in the gym, especially for those who are just beginning this journey. I'm 4.5 years in. I started working out in my late 30s, at 39. So I already had to be fairly strategic, and I didn't do it right at first, and I hurt myself in a lot of different ways, and I learned some important lessons. Maybe I can save you a couple of those. So progressive overload is not just moving more weight, heavier and heavier weight from point A to point B. That is a way to build just outright strength. It's also a great way to really get your ego involved in your physical fitness journey, and a great way to get hurt. So progressive overload in the gym, it's also really about full range of motion, proper form, slowing down your motion, getting more reps in, time under tension. We're shooting for 40 to 70 seconds time under tension. That's at least what I've heard. I'm not a trainer. That's what I got from somebody who was way bigger and more buff than I was. I am, and I saw how he was training. But when we are working on this constant progress, constantly having habits where we make just little bits of progress, we're focusing on, at least for me, I had treated my body like an absolute garbage dumpster, a toxic waste disposal. I had disrespected the greatest gift from God. And so my mission with this, other than just being able to continue to play long and hard, because I'm an active guy. I love to have fun. I love to do challenging physical tasks. So outside of that, though, it was to take this beautiful gift that I've had bestowed upon me, and I treated like absolute trash, and sculpt it into a work of art. So my training is about stability, mobility, posture, hypertrophy, and aesthetics. Hypertrophy is growing your muscles, making your muscles bigger. So you don't have to be really fast about adding more and more weight to grow your muscles. It's actually quite the opposite. Now, you do have to go very intense. You do have to go until you've either hit failure or you're awfully close to it, till you are burning. That's where the muscle growth happens, along with proper nutrition, proper time to meals, and a lot of these other things. But the progression that worked for me, and I think the way this is working or will work for a lot of you, is start with fitness, start with the gym, start with habits. Now, you start eating better and wanting to make sure you're actually getting something out of the work that you're putting in. And of course, that you've got to remove, for me, the alcohol. I was at least a liter of hard alcohol a day for 3+ years of my 26 years drinking. And eventually, you realize, well, the biggest detriment to all of this, all this hard work I'm putting in, all these other things I'm not putting in my mouth, is the alcohol. And the gym gave me the strength, what I needed, that mental resilience, that self-belief, that feeling of progress to put down the bottle for good. Now I'm right around 30 days out from 1,000 days without alcohol, and I will never drink again. This is my identity now. This is who I am, and I'm proud of it. There's no explanation to anybody. Oh, why don't you want to drink? I'm not going to kill myself. Look at what I'm building, a beautiful thing out of this. So for me, the progression was fitness, sobriety. I was eating better along the way, but once I had stopped drinking for at least 90 days, probably closer to 6 months, then I really started dialing in more on what was going into my body. And I did it all wrong. I overdid it. It was unhealthy. I kept myself in a state of constant starvation or malnutrition for, like 18 months. I went catabolic. My white blood cell count was through the floor. I was having pains all over my body, gut bacteria issues. I overdid it. But I also, at the same time, learned how resilient I actually was, how I really had developed strength through restraint. I wouldn't have been able to take it to that level. But the progression then, the progressive overload, was not to continue starving myself. It was, okay, now I have to actually learn how to eat right, what proper macros are, what muscle protein synthesis is. I had a scale. I had all my calories and different macros planned out. Protein, healthy fats, carbs, and eventually that became second nature too. Now this gets into the things that we're really faced with moving forward in a world that's changing constantly, that a lot of people don't have any idea. Are they going to be able to keep generating an income for 5 years, 10 years? Is that path completely gone for them? And as a person now, I'm 2 years into, just under 2 years since I started my agency business, and I have been in this constant state of cognitive overload, pushing my brain and my capabilities so far beyond their limits. It's been like university senior finals, just for 2 years nonstop. And over that time, I look back and realize the most valuable investment I've made in my life was all of that discomfort and all the skills I stacked and all the capabilities. I'm now a single person that can do more than the entire businesses that I was working at. 50 to 100 people. I could do it all on my own now. And that was something that was unimaginable just a few years ago. But I started this business. I had this vision. I knew that my path to freedom and prosperity was to get outside of all the comforts and all the security that comes with the structure of the model of trading hours for dollars to work for someone else, that is a less and less viable path for more and more of us. And right now, so we're in this amazing, crazy window right now. I'm only a year into my AI game, and it's redonkulous what I can do on my own now, things that are so far outside of my skill set and capabilities with this. And I sucked at first. It was frustrating. I didn't get anywhere. I put a whole lot of time into not getting much back out of it. And then, but the most valuable things is we're growing and progressing and getting better at anything. It's not when things work out. It's all the failures and all the frustrations and all the lessons that get learned through putting our hands onto these things and trying over and over again and not giving up. That was progressive overload in a new way, getting into the AI game. And okay, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to figure this stuff out. I'm going to go until it works. This doesn't work now. Maybe I've actually found the edges where this isn't going to produce what I need. Do I need a different tool? Do I just need to give it a little time? It's evolving so fast. I continue to get good at this in other places. I'll come back to this and it'll work in a few more months. So right now, the world hasn't caught up with this AI. This isn't yet native to kids, to high school or college graduates. This is something that right now, those of us who are willing to grow and get uncomfortable and evolve can do really amazing things. The level of competition is so low. The barrier to entry is so low. And you can be frustrated about it. You can be mad about it. It's not going to change it. It is what it is. We can either try to work in the world as it ought to be, according to whatever we believe, or we can just move forward in the world as it truly actually is. And AI is not going anywhere. So for me, I've always been an independent thinker. I've always hated the limitations of traditional workforce. Some people maybe just getting really good at a skill set that your competitors, your counterparts aren't that good at yet. It doesn't take much to be ahead of the pack right now. So maybe that's it. Or maybe you recognize, maybe you have a dream and a vision, an impact that you want to have on the world, a business that you've wanted to create. And yeah, that first 20 hours to 100 hours is going to be ugly and uncomfortable, and it's going to be very unproductive. But that's also the best education that you're going to get, is when you just start getting your hands dirty on something new and different and weird and uncomfortable and outside of your knowledge base and skill set. So progressive overload for me in this business game. This is far outside of AI, all the different things that I have built and developed and grown. But now AI, halfway through that journey, became a tool and has become an extremely valuable part of the process. It's helped me take, my first funnel that I built in this hyper complex interface and system called High Level. This thing, I work, a lot of my clients' businesses are in motorcycles and power sports and a lot of kind of off-road and fun guy stuff. I liken this tool set, this interface, to having a shop full of every single part you need to build anything, but you actually have to build the circuit boards and the wiring and all of the parts. Like, you don't just buy a gauge cluster, you have to build the gauge. That's what this complex suite is that I've been working in and developing in. And it took me 6 months to build the first one, and I built the last one in 2 weeks, and I had AI to help me to get through some of the different coding and things that I'm not great with. And I don't want to talk too much about me. This is how I'm trying to relate all this. Let's go into the more interesting spiritual thing, coping with fear, scarcity, anxiety, anger, resentment. This is something that I'm definitely making progress with, but it's the new and interesting and uncomfortable version of progressive overload that I'm now exploring into, because I realized, I've been wearing this Fitbit for about a year, and I got 6 hours of sleep twice in an entire year. I've got to start changing the way I address and approach some things, and some of that is internal, is spiritual, man. I can't just brute force my way through everything, and I have to recognize that, some of the sleep issues are the darkness comes in at night before I go to bed. The anger and anxiety, and I'm just too busy all day to let any of it come in, and it creeps in at the end of the day at a bad time when sleep is important. So starting to understand these new and different things about energy, about my own internal state, removing the things that keep that part of the brain firing all the time, that doesn't allow myself to calm down, right? I had to reduce, remove, and eliminate most of my financial analysis, most of my current events. I had to get it out of my life. I hadn't watched entertainment for years. I had to actually start bringing back finding a series that I could get into during my meal, and then as soon as my nighttime meal is done, the nighttime routine starts. I want to be in bed by 8:30. As soon as that meal is done, the entertainment goes off, and it's just meditation music. Once I'm done with the routine, I spend 15 minutes meditating. I don't know anything about meditation, but I'm telling you, this is making a big difference. I feel that anger, that resentment, the stuff that, with people in my life that have, come at me in ways that it's wrong, and it's still a part of my life. This is harming me. If I can't get over that, it's harming me. It's harming my sleep. It's harming my productivity. It's slowing down my path of progress to building this mission, to getting these valuable lessons out to the world, to building the Comeback Camp for Men, where we are going to gather in person and really focus on these different lessons out in a beautiful place, out in the mountains. We'll talk more about that later. So this thing with spirituality it's been amazing that I've learned and noticed and recognized there's so much more out there in the world, within us internally, that when we start really being able to visualize the future, to remember our future, to truly focus on what we want and stop thinking about, what's the exact next step that I have to get through right now. Yes, a plan, a blueprint. Yes, it is important. But if you lock in on that and everything's about, okay, what's the next result? How do I get the result? How do I get the result? Versus just having the vision, having the trust and the self-belief, and continuing to move towards that vision, and removing the fear and scarcity and anxiety to get there. It's such a new and different concept that I can just feel that energy as I start to just believe and know that this is something that is going to happen, that I will create my own self-reliance and financial freedom, I will have a true impact on the world. We will build each other and ourselves together. We will get this message out to the world. These valuable lessons that I'm learning and I'm sharing, and I'm showing my challenges along the way too, the best that I can. So because of this spiritual element here, it is fairly abstract, and it's still something I'm growing, learning, and evolving in. I know that there's going to be a more elevated version of me in the future that you see, and I know, and we have this part of the journey to look back on, to where I couldn't even truly articulate some of these things, other than I know that almost instantly when I start meditating, my body starts tingling. I start breathing different. I am able to redirect that negative and angry energy. Now, I'm not able to usually stay in that state. A lot of times I can reduce or remove it, and it can come right back almost instantly. And I know there's going to be a point where I'm able to take charge of that and take control of it and eliminate the darkness and the negativity. And every day I feel just a little bit more enlightened. I feel just a little bit more progress. But it's another form of progressive overload. I probably need to understand and learn more about meditation. I need to find a way to spend more time doing it. The gym is a lot of meditation to me, but it's different than just sitting in silence and trying the best I can to clear my mind and then saying out loud. And nobody's told me I haven't gotten this from anywhere, so maybe this is all wrong, but it sure seems to work for me. And I say out loud some of the different things that maybe I'm struggling with, or the things that I truly am learning and believing, And when I feel the emotions come up, I know this is something real. I say over and over again, I believe in myself, and I know that I do, and I know that I've had a really hard time through life truly believing in myself, but I see all the things that I've actually done, and I know that this is something, I believe in myself. I believe in myself. I say love and forgive. Love and forgive. I say that the darkness is not welcome. And this is the next level of progressive overload, where I learn something new and different and do it uncomfortably and continue to progress and do it more and do it better and learn more about it until it becomes just a normal internalized thing, just like the identity I've built from going to the gym, not drinking, eating right, and continuing to pursue purpose, passion, progress, and grow and get better at my business, while starting to actually focus on my health and my nervous system and eliminating the low leverage things, the ways I was trying to add value just by solving problems that were taking, the opportunity cost was so high. I was taking away from the highest leverage, the highest profitable, most growth things that I can do for my clients' businesses, which great thing is everything I learn as I get better for them, I'm getting paid to build and learn and do this for somebody else, and it applies to everything we're going to do here. So now I just got to figure out how to make a little more time. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out on this one. I hope it all tied together well, but I'm going to keep recording these videos every day, even though I can't yet figure out how to make the time to get them online every single day. That will continue to progress. Everything I say will continue to progress. There's a few points and themes along the way. Fitness is the foundation to elevation. Habits are the foundation for fitness. Those are the things that are going to get you through everything else. Motion creates clarity. You got to start moving. We just start moving and things start working themselves out. And progress, not success, not the end goal. Progress is a foundational pillar to happiness. Moving forward, just getting in motion. Motion creates clarity. Progress creates fulfillment and happiness. Love you. Catch you tomorrow.